2023. We will open our meeting this evening with the reading of our mission statement. New Philadelphia City Schools will provide all students the opportunity to achieve their highest potential to become educated, self-sufficient, and responsible citizens. We are committed to providing every student a diverse, quality education within a safe and secure environment through a dedicated, innovative, and highly qualified staff, in partnership with parents and the community at large. We can stand and all the kids lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well done.
That was nice.
Okay, call the roll.
Mr. France?
Present.
Dr. Fuller?
Here.
Mr. McMath?
Here.
Mr. Weaver?
Here.
Mr. Gallantine's excused this evening. We have a quorum.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda of the regular Board of Education meeting?
So moved.
France. Dr. Fuller is a second. Additions or deletions?
There's one addition on item F. I forgot to put the dollar amount. So I added the dollar amount in the amount of 25,000 is the addition to the line item.
As amended.
Dr. Fuller, you second that? Yes. Anything else? Call the roll?
Mr. France?
Yes.
Dr. Fuller?
Yes.
Mr. McMath?
Yes.
Mr. Weaver?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regularly scheduled meeting dated September 11th, 2023?
So moved.
Weaver, I'll second. Any corrections to those? Call the roll?
Mr. Weaver?
Yes.
Mr. McMath?
Yes.
Mr. France?
Yes.
Dr. Fuller?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mrs. Wentworth?
All right, I do not see Warren here tonight, but I want to go ahead and take a minute to recognize Warren Dunn. He's one of our students in the district, and last spring, all school districts in Ohio had an opportunity to nominate a student to one of the state support teams for excellence. And there are 16 state support teams in Ohio, so we nominated Warren Dunn, and he received this award for daily determination and perseverance to achieve personal success in school and community. So I want to go ahead and acknowledge that award, pretty special thing, and we will make sure that he gets this.
Wonderful. Congratulations, Warren. Thank you. Just about every month, we like to highlight some of the things that are going on around our district. And this evening, it's South Elementary with Mrs. France.
Hello. We have a group of second graders who's very anxious to sing for you. And then we have our third grade team back there in the back. They are not shy. And they're going to share one of the programs that we do here at South. So we're going to start with our second graders. And this is Kimba.
Oh, they're over here.
are you grateful for? I'm grateful for South Elementary School. What are you grateful for? I'm grateful for the PTO. What are you grateful for? I'm grateful for a nice classroom. Another gratitude attitude. I've got a gratitude attitude, yeah, yeah, yeah. I've got a gratitude attitude. I've got a gratitude attitude, yeah, yeah, yeah. What are you grateful for? I'm grateful for my class. What are you grateful for? I'm grateful for my What are you grateful for? I'm grateful for our great playground. What are you grateful for? I'm grateful for my princess. I got a gratitude attitude. I've got a gratitude attitude, yeah, yeah, yeah. I've got a gratitude attitude. I've got a gratitude attitude, yeah, yeah, yeah. What are you grateful for? I'm grateful for sport. What are you grateful for? I'm grateful for my principal. What are you grateful for? I'm grateful for a school. What are you grateful for? I'm grateful gratitude attitude. I've got a gratitude attitude, yeah, yeah, yeah. I've got a gratitude attitude. I've got a gratitude attitude, yeah, yeah, yeah. Gratitude.
Thank you. You guys did a great job. So I'm going to call your name, and when I call your name to introduce you, just raise your hand. Raise it nice and high, okay? All right. Lydia High. Yes. Zayden Norman. Colette Chris. Estella McClave. Ruby Harris. Lily Parisi. Stephanie Dong. Brody Mears. Harper Seldenwright. Ava Neff, Reagan Neff, Mallory Johnson, Adeline Alt, Jordan Alt, Avery Harding, and Charlotte O'Hara. Those are our second graders. Thank you guys, you did a great job. All right, third grade, come on up. Hey guys, let's go. No, go over there. You're good. Let's go over there. Good job. So in third grade, they take over a lot of the leadership things that we have at South, and we're just kind of getting rolling with that. Next month, they will have elections for class presidents and vice presidents, but these students volunteered to be here tonight to tell you about one program that we have started. So I'll let you go first.
Hello, we are third graders from South Elementary. We are here tonight to talk about a very important and responsible activity our school takes part in, recycling. One of our science standards relates to taking care of our environment, so we want to make sure we are using those skills in our daily lives. We take pride in helping our planet. To do this, students from each third grade class collect paper recycling. Thanks to Campbell's Recycling and Waste, each classroom receives a recycling bin to collect paper.
Every Thursday, 2 students from each class go to multiple classrooms and locations around this building to collect. The leadership of this activity shows that even one small action can lead to a big change for the earth.
Our overall goal is for students to take what they have learned about recycling and apply it in their own home. Remember,
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Okay, I forgot my. I'm gonna let you guys are good. You can introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name is Emily Knapp. Hi, my name is Brenda Zerzan. Hi, my name is Emerson Cornell.
Hi, my name is Philip Stroop. Hi, my name is Maddox Burnworth.
Hi, my name is Eleanor Rosnick.
These are our third graders and probably some of our classroom presidents coming up, right? Do you have any questions for them? Because I bet they can answer them. Anybody? All right. Thanks, guys. And the last thing that I gave everyone was just kind of a little fact sheet about South Elementary in case you didn't realize our enrollment, the number of staff that we have, our EL percentage. And then at the bottom, something that we're all working pretty hard on this year is meeting those goals, those academic goals that we've listed there. That's what we have for you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, all the students for sure, and Mrs. France, thank you very much for coming this evening. It's great to hear from you. I have one question. What is the most thing what's recycled the most? What's brought in the most? Paper? All right, good. All right, awesome. Great. Worksheets. Homework, you bring that in, throw that away, right? Heck no.
He asked for it.
Well, thank you so much for coming. You are welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting if you'd like. But if you don't want to, this would be a good time to slip out the side.
Or I'm leaving. Or stay.
Thank you, guys. Nice job.
Great job.
Oh, thank you.
Job.
Thank you. Yeah, nice job. Awesome.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Like your cheek.
Great work, thank you.
Great job, everybody.
Well done.
Thank God you guys are like your mother.
Aaron, you singing next?
Yes.
Kilo duet.
Yeah, thank you.
How's the big crazy? Huh? And how are you?
Clear the room.
Are you hanging in there? Thanks, guys. Good job.
All right, we will keep moving. I do not think we have any public participation this evening signed up. So we will move into treasurer's report.
So in your folder, you have the September financial statement, the key indicator, the cash flow, the check register, and the bank reconciliation. All items are in balance. However, I do have to point out to you that in August, we had a posting error that's corrected in September. So the two tax lines, there's a negative and a positive to correct the error. We're asking for the purchase of a used 2015 E350 with a wheelchair lift from the Tuscarawas DD in the amount of $25,000. I'm asking for the approval of MMI CPR School Tech Repair. This is K-12 Tech, and they do all of our repairs on our student Chromebooks. This is in the amount of $80,454 to repair the Chromebooks for this year. That's what we average each year, by the way. I have the excess flood insurance for the Quaker Dome in the amount of $33,462. An approval for final forms. This is a forms for students packet for athletics to use. I'm asking for the approval of Omarisa Internet Service Agreement for the Attention Center in the amount of $11,475.96. That goes through 6/30/28, and that dollar amount is annual. The approval of FMLA for Michelle Kites. And then we have a number of donations. I have donation from the Quaker Club for track and cross-country tents. A donation from Tom and Lynn O'Donnell for high jump standards. The Quaker ladies also donated for track and cross-country tents. Quaker Club donated for boys basketball locker. Moomaw Foundation donated for Project Lead the Way, and the First United Methodist Church donated to Welty Middle School. And the last item, or the last two items, I have an approval for the amended appropriations for fiscal '24 in the general fund of $65,000 to increase the appropriation. And finally, we have two more salary moves for this fall.
Do I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report with the addition of the 25,000 amount?
So moved.
Mr. France, and a second?
I'll second.
Any questions for the treasurer?
Julie, when the state reevaluated the floodplain, did that impact flood insurance at the Quaker Dome any?
No, what's impacting it is insurance is just skyrocketing.
I understand that.
But we're not, we haven't had any change in the requirements because we were already at not the 100-year, but the other one.
Didn't impact
There's
us any,
two
but
floodplains.
basically that
Right.
the reevaluation of the actual floodplain did not impact
No.
the school. Okay.
Anything else?
But just one thing, not really a question, just a comment, but just appreciate the support within our community on the donation front. It's almost monthly. We have some organization or individual who wants to do something to support the district, so much appreciated.
Okay, call the roll.
Mr. France?
Yes.
Mr. Weaver?
Yes.
Dr. Fuller?
Yes.
Mr. McMath?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Personnel.
All right, we do have a couple resignations to accept here this month. Then some additional classified staff that we are hiring. I want to draw your attention, we actually are hiring two more bilingual paraprofessionals to work in our district. So that is a much needed and much appreciated additions there. Supplementals, mostly coaching for winter and spring sports. And then a whole list of substitutes in various categories that we're going to add. Very much appreciate them, as well as some additions to our volunteer list, both our classroom volunteers and our athletic volunteers.
Do I have a motion to accept the personnel?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any questions or anything?
Maybe just one, Amy, the sub situation, I guess in contrast to last year, are we solid as far as number of subs? Are we in need of more subs? What's your assessment there?
We're still in need of some more, because most days we have principals in more than one building who have an unfilled position. However, it is less, the need is less than it has been the last year, and much less than it was 2 years ago. So it is improving a little bit.
Okay. Good, thank you.
Call the roll.
Mr. Weaver?
Yes.
Mr. France?
Yes.
Dr. Fuller?
Yes.
Mr. McMath?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Committee reports.
Draw your attention to the fact that the Business Advisory Council information and minutes is linked on the ESC's website. And on that.
Facilities. Only thing I have is I know that we're looking at doing some repairs to the soccer field area at South Elementary in partnership with NPYSA, which is who, they're being super generous in helping us do that. which is phenomenal. And so hoping to get that space a little bit, well, in a lot better shape and a little bit safer for our athletes that use it.
Have we determined what that means yet, as far as the actual work, or is that still just being talked about?
I don't have the agenda with me, but it's, do you remember?
They're basically, they're going to aerate the field and reseed it.
Oh, okay.
And the NPYSA is actually contributing about half of the
Oh, wow,
project.
well, great.
So they're going to do that here as soon as they're off of it in late October, with the hopes that the grass will get a good start. We're going to fence it off for the winter, and
Okay.
hopefully it'll be in good shape by the spring.
Great.
Any other committee reports? Mr. Williams?
I'm getting myself set up, so maybe Mrs. Irwin can talk about a new feature that'll be in my section each month.
Oh, so we have moved the approval of the QDA and QPA financial reports to Mr. Williams so that he can discuss those each month. And he does get a copy of those each month.
You know where the lights are?
No.
I know where they're at.
All right, so each of you has a packet that kind of explains what goes into the Ohio report card, okay? And that's what I'm here to talk about tonight. So as I have here, we have Welcome to Report Card 101. If you remember in college, your 101 class was the basics, right? So I'm not gonna take an hour, okay? I'm not able to sing it like the kids today. So I'm going to give you the basics and tell you some of our successes in the report card this year, as well as things that we recognize that we need to get better at. So first, I like to start with our mission, right? We are wanting to provide all students the opportunity to achieve their highest potential, to become educated, self-sufficient, and responsible citizens. We're committed to providing every student, and we'll hit on that when we get to the report card, a diverse, quality education within a safe and secure environment through a dedicated, innovative, highly qualified staff and partnerships with parents and community at large. So just quickly, this is in that packet. I thought it was interesting for you to see when the report card is tallied for each building in our district, the achievement piece, which is your state testing, is 28.6%. Progress, which is students moving, right, each year, getting better, improving their scores, is 28%. Graduation rate is 14.266. Gap closing, which we'll go into a little more detail, that's how our students in subcategories are doing. Our EL students, our economically disadvantaged, our special education. And then our early literacy, how our K-3 kids are moving towards the 3rd grade reading guarantee. So that's kind of your breakdown of how the report card is made. And finally, before we dive into our report card, the state now has half stars and different colors to account for their ratings. So obviously 5 stars is the best. You can have 4.5 stars, 4 stars, 3.5 stars, 3 stars and down. So 3 stars meet state standards. We're doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're doing our job. We don't want to just do our job, right? We want to be 5-star district. So that's for you as we move into the actual report card. So here it is. This is our report card. It's accessible on the ODE website. If you just Google Ohio Department of Education report cards, you can find this. So upper left, we are a 3-star district. We meet the state standards in most areas overall. Achievement, we're going to dive a little deeper into some of these areas. Achievement, which once again is our state testing, 3 stars. Progress, 2 stars. Gap closing, which I'm really proud of, 4 stars in gap closing as a district. Graduation rate, 1 star, and we'll talk about that in a second. Early literacy, 2 stars. And then in the future here, we're going to have to be accountable for college, career, workforce, and military readiness, but that's not a star-rated area yet. And here's our buildings. And this might be a little difficult to read, so I'm going to highlight some of the things for you. First, on the left in black bold, that is the overall building rating. So you can see Central Elementary was 4.5 stars this year. Welty Middle School, 3 stars. Our high school, 2.5. Quaker Prep is on our report card because they are only K-8. South Elementary School, 3.5 stars. West Elementary was a 5-star building. I didn't put York and East because they only have one area that they're rated in, and that's gap closing, and that is deceiving to say they're rated, because York would be a 5-star and East a 1-star, but they're only rated in one area. So Central, some successes there, 4 stars across the board, 4 stars in the state testing, 4 stars in moving their kids forward progress-wise, and 4 stars in gap closing. South Elementary School, 5 stars in gap closing, doing an excellent job of moving our kids forward and in our subgroups, our ELL population, our economically disadvantaged, our special education. West, 4 stars in achievement, 5 stars progress, 5 stars in the gap closing. And there's York Elementary with their 5 stars in gap closing. Moving kindergartners who take the OELPA, that's where that star comes from. The OELPA is a test for our EL learners that they take in kindergarten. The 5 stars is we've improved our ELs from OELPA to OELPA into first grade. East, just as a note, has 1 star. If they had 2 more kids pass or meet their growth target on the OELPA, they'd be 5 stars. That's how difficult it is to automatically look at numbers, right? So those are some of our successes. These are our buildings. So what goes into these? So achievement, just to break it down for you, achievement isn't just getting 80%, being proficient. We get points for every part of the test, right? So if we have a student that's advanced plus, there's a formula for it, and we get points. And basically, we're trying to build up as many total points as we can at the bottom. We finished with 85.4 out of a possible 108.8. That's a 78.5%. That gives us 3 stars in achievement. Okay. And the breakdown on the left side is how many of each level we got. So accomplished is the second to best you can do. We're kind of in the middle there. Advanced is the black at the top. Our proficient are in the orange. We're trying to get basic, which is the blue, and the limited in the red. We're trying to get those kids to move up. And our principals have done a great job of identifying those kids that we need to work on, especially bubble kids that from year to year might be on the border of basic into proficient or accomplished into advanced. So we're really working hard on identifying those kids and pushing them through to a higher score. And that'll only help our progress. This is the second part of the state report card. So the green means that we have met growth expectations, and the greens are tough to decipher because it's a little darker. Gray is a value added that's not available. It just means it's a test we don't take. Or value added means from year to year improvement. And the red obviously is an area where we need to improve in our progress. And once again, our principals have done a really good job of identifying those kids that need a little extra and providing them. And I'll once again get into that as well as we move towards the end. So this is our progress element right here. So definitely area for us to work on. Gap closing. This is the 4 stars. Very proud of this. So this is, and I'll move forward. See, somehow there's a formula built that figures out where our subgroups should be, okay? And how far they should grow. So this first slide is just achievement, performance on a state test. The red dot is where the state formula says that these subgroups should be. And you can see by the colors, we're exceeding in achievement pretty darn well in gap closing, meaning our subgroups are moving. So the bright green up top are the white non-Hispanics, for those of you that can't see. The orange are multiracial. The purple is all of our students. The orange is economically disadvantaged. The purplish reddish, I guess, would be our black non-Hispanic students. The gray is our Hispanic students. The red would be our English learners, which there is a difference between our Hispanic and our English learners, because we can have Hispanic students who are not considered English learners because they've tested out of that program through the OELPA test. And then finally, the bottom group is our students with disabilities. So as you can see, our goal is to get past those red dots. I think we're doing a really good job of pushing these subgroups and identifying kids that need help. And I credit, once again, we've got two of our principals here. They do an amazing job of working with teachers and PLCs and small groups to figure out who these kids are, track them, and spend time working with teachers. So this is an area where we can improve in English language arts, though, with gap closing. If you can see in math, we're doing a pretty good job. And I credit our teachers because we got new math curriculum last year. And I think, and obviously it's gonna take a few years for that to kick in data-wise, but I think our teachers have really done a nice job of investing time in interventions and figuring out how to work with, once again, these subgroups. Now, English language arts, you can see we're going back a little bit, but I'm gonna address that here in a second with some of the things that we're doing in our schools to kind of fix that gap. But math, we're growing in all those groups. So very, very excited about that. Especially our English learners, that's the top group. Our English learners and our Hispanic students really pushing it. And I'm really proud of our students with disabilities in math moving forward as well. And finally, our graduation rate in gap closing. All right, you can see our white non-Hispanic students are reaching that goal. You can see our students with disabilities. This is where I'm super proud of this number. Look at that. We are exceeding the goal that the state has put, 84.8% graduation rate for students with disabilities. And I give a lot of credit to our intervention specialists, to our special education director, Janet Makel, who's come in and really taken the job and worked with our intervention specialists and teachers to educate them on the best practices. And then our other groups moving forward, inching towards that. And once again, I'm gonna talk here a little bit about the great things Mr. Range and Mr. Jarvis are doing with our graduation. And finally, there's our graduation rate. And this is a focus area, and once again, I'll go over that in a second. So the blue, we're looking at the bars on the side. The blue is our district graduation rate. The black is our similar districts similar to our size and background, and green is the state. So we are below both of those. So our goal is to obviously, we want 5 stars. Mr. Range, if you were here today, would tell you he wants 5 stars next year. So we're working towards this especially hard. And finally, the last element is early literacy. So just to let you know what early literacy is, in kindergarten through 3rd grade, we administer a diagnostic at the beginning of each year that measures how close a student is to performing at grade level reading, working towards the 3rd grade reading guarantee. And this element here, the early literacy element, is how many kids that we get off of reading plans that they're put on if they are not on track to pass that 3rd grade reading, okay? So we've got 2 stars in this, but I'm gonna get to how we're working on fixing that, okay? So we talked about our 5 stars at Central. We talked about West, South, and York with gap closing. We talked about West and Central's 5 and 4 stars. Number 4 up there, we talked about East. 2 students showing growth in OELPA would have given them 5 stars. Now number 5, that's what I want to focus on with you and what we're doing to make ourselves better in graduation. So our graduation rate is being addressed in a big way by Mr. Range and Mr. Jarvis. Last year, Mrs. Claxton started an apprenticeship program. This is a means by which the state allows us to have a group of students that are not the best test takers, but want to go work after graduation. And we recognize that we have a large population of those students. And what we do is we partner with multiple businesses in the area. We've chosen hospitality as our track, and we take those kids to different places to learn hospitality. And then at the end of the year, those kids take a test that tests life functions, functions you would have at a job, using a calculator, things that are more apt for that student who after graduation is going to go into the workforce. And this year, Mr. Range has accelerated some of our partnerships. We've got Dutch Hospitality. Our kids will be going out to Dutch Valley, Comfort Inn and Suites. They went there last year, learned how to fold bed sheets, clean rooms. They learned about check-in, check-out procedures. The Denison Depot, today, Mr. Range, I think he's on his track to arrange for our kids to work on the Polar Express as part of that, as hospitality, and learn how that works, and then Park Street Pizza, and he's still looking for more. So last year, we had 5 kids graduate, get diplomas through this program that would not have graduated otherwise. This year, Mr. Range has 13 kids signed up. So his goal was 20. I have no doubt he's going to still add to that, but very happy with 13 kids. Also, we've instituted Edmentum. It's an online program for science and citizenship to help kids earn extra seals towards graduation. We talked with the ESC today about a graduation tracker that allows us to track all aspects of a student from 6th grade through 12th grade to try to make sure that we're tracking them and helping them get towards graduating from our district. Currently, there's 32 students being tracked by the high school administration that right now are not on track to graduate. And Mr. Range, Mr. Jarvis, Mrs. Shimko, our attendance officer, are all working with those kids almost daily, checking in with them. How's your classes? If it's tests, making sure they're put in test prep, doing a great job. And a possible Rise Up program. That's a program that kids that want to work during the day could do some work during the day or work at night, can get credit for that, and then just take a class online that, once again, it's very similar to the apprenticeship, but they would pass that test and be able to almost be a full-time employee while staying in school. Because once again, we recognize not every student is going to go to college, and not every student is going to get a perfect score on a test. Julie Shimko is our new attendance officer this year. She's running with it, monitoring students, making parent calls, following up, working with our elementaries to have common language about absences, so that from K through 12, that students are hearing the same thing and really working from the ground up to make sure kids stay in school. Our early literacy. This year we introduced a common foundations curriculum in every single classroom, K to 3. That's for phonics instruction, the basics, foundation of reading. We have a new program called Dibble's Intervention that takes that diagnostic I was telling you about that all the kids take to see what level they're at, and it groups them for the teachers, and then gives them a box of resources, tells them, here is the lesson you should teach to this particular group, and then the teachers take those and run with them. The teachers have already been doing small group instruction, which our principals got way ahead of at the elementary level last year. Not a lot of districts were doing this as I go to curriculum meetings. Our elementary principals tasked our teachers with doing 60 minutes of small group instruction a day in math and reading. That's tough because they're in that classroom trying to monitor 5, 6 small groups of 4 to 6 kids for 60 minutes. Some of them break it up a bit, 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there. They took it and ran with it. And we brought in an educational expert, Carrie Meek, to help with that process. Our principals are great about standards tracking. We're talking about common curriculum, K to 12, as we go into next year for English. And our principals this year have brought our elementary teachers all together once a month. At one location, it'll be here, K to 5, and they're going to go over common topics so that K to 5 with all of our grade level buildings have common vocabulary, especially in literacy, moving forward. Very important. And then we did form a district literacy team with Mrs. France, Mr. Maurer, and Mr. Holmes, myself, and 4 teachers who are all Orton Gillingham trained specialists in literacy. And we're going over the data constantly and talking about how to best serve kids and get them reading. And finally, the last part that I think will help in this early literacy, we're pushing our teachers, we're pushing our kids with our diagnostics. We're going with a new diagnostic this year called DIBBLS. It's M-class, it goes with that intervention piece. And what's kind of cool is, it's challenging. And we came about this finding out that over the last few years, our kindergartners, we have not had a lot of kindergartners on RIPS, on reading improvement plans. And early literacy, as I said, is all about moving kids off of those reading improvement plans. Well, if we've only got 12 or 13 kids on a reading improvement plan, that percentage is going to be difficult to reach. And we found that our test, which is MAP, was probably not super indicative of where our kids were. And so I credit our principals for working with our teachers because it's increasing the number of kids that they have to work with in small groups. But the teachers, through their inspiration, are really running with it. And they're focused on those small groups. And so I gave you this number for this year, for example, using DIBBLS, using KRA in kindergarten especially, our RIP numbers, those kids that are not on track. We have 79 kids at York this year with a challenging diagnostic, identified and being served in small groups at York. The old way we identified, we would only have 35. At East, we have 55 that we've identified. The old way, we only would have had 12. And so we're excited about identifying those kids and kind of, getting that data so that our teachers can break them up, do the intervention, small group, and kind of work with them in that way. So that's it.
I have a couple questions.
Yeah, sure.
So the apprenticeship program, 12 students, that's great, up from 5, well, you said 13.
Yeah, he has 13.
So how does that help them get to graduation?
They actually get credit for going to these different places. So the students have to attend school. There's a certain attendance requirement. They have to attend the day they go to these places. And Mr. Range is actually getting his van license so he can drive these kids into these places. They spend all day there working at that place, learning the ropes. So that's a requirement. And then they take a test. And it's a lot of those kids that last year, those 5 kids, you have to pass 2 tests to graduate. Algebra 1 and English 1, okay? Those kids last year couldn't pass it. We gave it to them 6, 7 times. They just were not great test takers. They passed this test. It's called the work piece test. And we give that because, once again, that's more suited, the questions are more suited to the real world of what they'll be doing. And you should have seen their face light up because their results came up instantly when they were taking it last year. And one girl walked in early and she said, I'm gonna fail this. And it's total score of 5 you can get on it. She got a 5. And she almost started crying because, her whole life she'd been not passing these state tests. So that's how they get to that. And we apply for it for those kids and we have to go through the state and apply, but that's the process for the apprenticeship.
Rise Up, you said it's possible, so we haven't started that yet?
No, so we have to work with Buckeye. Buckeye does a lot with Rise Up, and so that's an area that's new to me. But once again, so I can't really go into that with you. I can inform you once we meet with Mr. Poland, the Director of Adult Education over there, and he handles that kind of program. So we're hoping to institute that as well.
So Rise Up could be something that we can use with EL population.
We're hopeful because, once again, it identifies kids who may want to work half a day or part of a day. And what they do is they get credit. They have to go through a process of getting a mentor. So you have to get a boss that's willing to give them evaluations. It's a much more difficult process in terms of the apprenticeship. The apprenticeship, the kids go to a place, observe, check it out. These are kids that are going to work and working, right?
Yeah.
And then they go through that and then they take a test at the end called the Rise Up test, which is very similar to the apprenticeship.
When do we think you can institute that?
We have an appointment to meet with Mr. Poland next Tuesday.
Okay.
So we're gonna be meeting with him and hopefully instantaneously.
Okay.
That's our goal.
DIBBLS, did you call it DIBBLS?
Yeah, DIBBLS.
So you said that's new, right?
Yep.
And are teachers using that now?
Yes, so DIBBLS M-class is the test we gave all the kids to start the year, to see what level they're at. It's very difficult, and that's what gives us our numbers the 79 and the 55. And then from there, it flows into intervention, which is an extra program we purchased that makes it easy. Because in other districts or the old days, you take all that data and teachers would have to do their own grouping. Intervention just clicks. It says, here's your groups. And then it also says, here's your lessons. And they go over to their intervention box and they pull out the books that go with that lesson.
I think you mentioned it's kind of a difficult program.
Not difficult, but I shouldn't say that. It is a true identifier of students and their needs in the realm of reading. MAP was we used previously, and I'll be honest, I don't think MAP is a true indicator. Plus the way the MAP test runs, it's easy. You can see the numbers for yourself, so.
How do you feel about training that teachers have gotten for that?
The teachers had, so our title intervention teachers administered the M-class training. Our intervention, the teachers had 3 hours of in-person training on our PD day, and they continue to work together to do that. I'll offer a refresher in January too.
So they'll have continue like on the go, on the spot? Okay.
Yeah, because we want to get better. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, is for us to get better along with the kids, right? Because we want to, these are all new. Like the foundations boxes are all new too. Like, we threw a lot at the teachers. But we also didn't pressure them either. We said, hey, let's break into this. Let's start working towards this. We're not going to change this in a day. It's going to take a few years for us to see this. And once again, I credit our principals and our teachers for, a lot of teachers, a lot of people could be scared off, right? Last year I had 35 kids on RIMS, and I got 79, but they're taking that challenge and they're really working hard on this, so. I'm excited about future report card discussions in the next few years. I'll just say that.
You think it's a several-year process?
Oh, absolutely, because it's going to take some time for the kids to be going through the program, for the teachers to get through the program, perfecting those areas before I think we see results.
How long, or how far into it do we get before we can definitively say whether or not it's applicable for our particular situation? I mean, every district's got to be unique. Do we get 2 years in and we can say, yep, this is the right choice? Or maybe we need to shift gears? How do we gauge whether or not we're heading down the right path if it's a 3-year process?
I always look at 3 years. After year 3, you should be seeing some major changes in our reading.
I would anticipate we will start to see results
Oh, yeah.
immediately, but big changes, it will take a couple years to move the needle in a big way. But I anticipate starting to see results immediately. Dibbles is aligned to the science of reading and does a really good job of targeting individual student skill deficits. And that's something that that's information we haven't had previously. So with that information and then the aligned resources to say how we can best meet those students' needs, I anticipate it's going to make a huge difference. But it's just one of those things where it's going to take a little bit of time before we really shift the needle in a big way.
Like I said, we've already seen math improvements by having united curriculum, K through 3 and then 4 through 12. We saw great jumps in math last year. Huge jumps, actually, in 1 year. So I can't wait for that. So we're going to see it. I'm just saying, like, we're going to be a 5-star district in 3 years. That's what I'm saying. We'll get there.
Gotcha.
Put it out there.
Just curious, a couple things. On the graduation rate, any impact with students that drop out of school to work, or do those numbers factor as part of the percentage that don't graduate, or are they just kids that go through 12th grade and don't graduate, or what's the impact there?
Yeah, absolutely. Students who drop out count as non-graduates for us, and they absolutely factor into that.
Okay,
Yeah.
makes sense. And I guess related to that, and then on any of the other, even early literacy part, any thoughts or perception on just pandemic impact over a period of time? I know those things, decisions made at that time might have had some lingering effect. I guess, how do you evaluate that piece of that as far as impact?
was it students in third grade now? Would they have been kindergarten in the pandemic? Yeah, I lose track a little bit, thank you. We have more students on reading improvement plans than we've ever had before. And I think that everybody would agree there was a huge difference. There was a huge learning loss. It's taken a little while to recover from, and we're not there yet.
I mean, I guess every district would deal with that to some degree, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
But I'll add to that is that, and teachers may say it to each other, we don't talk about it. Like, it's not an excuse.
Yeah, sure.
We're not making that excuse.
Yeah, absolutely,
Because,
sure.
once again, early literacy, we're trying to get our kids improved, right? Not every kid's gonna get to grade level reading. We wanna see growth. They should be growing every year. And so, I can't speak for Mrs. France, but like in her meetings, I've been to some of them. I don't hear teachers saying it.
Yeah, for sure.
We stay positive with it. So, we're challenged with that. Excited.
Yeah,
seriously, I am.
yeah. Well, it's a good point. I mean, it's sure better to not make an excuse or to rationalize. There's reasons we could try to do that, but if we're getting better, we're focused on getting better.
Yeah, because other districts are in the same boat and they're improving. So we want to be best in the county and one of the best in the state. So that's our goal.
I know for me, Mr. Williams, like, looking at our report card, there's little wins when you dig into it. I sat with Amy for a little bit and really dug into it. There's little wins, but there's areas where we have a lot to grow that are really disappointing.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a plan. I'm hearing the plan. I hope I speak for the board and any future board that comes on, that the expectation is that this is getting better, that we're growing, because you say we want to be the best in the county. We have a long way to go with that. And it's disappointing, but I know that we're hopeful. That expectation, I think, is definitely there from our end, that we make big strides in these areas.
Good. And I think our administrative team would welcome that as well. And what's nice is, our administrators have to go through professional growth plans of their own. And Amy and I take turns each year evaluating each principal. So I can say after last year and this year, they've all had data and improvement in an academic area. Mrs. France has that on her information sheet here, and take that to heart. And what's nice is the consistency we've had in principals over the last few years, and the elevation of Mr. Neff and Mr. Range. Those two worked together for many years. So those two, the communication between buildings is the best I think I've ever seen. I mean, Ms. Reed is constantly, talking with Mr. Neff, who's talking to Mr. Range. Mrs. Hall is talking to Mr. Neff, is just talking to Mrs. Hall from the preschool. She talks with Mr. Holmes and Mauer every couple of weeks about what they're doing at preschool and what's going on in kindergarten. So really happy with the continuity we're getting between principals too. And so we take that to heart as well.
Yeah, and I guess one thing I do appreciate the specificity on what we do. I mean, everybody can say you want to get better, right? I mean, that's a fairly broad statement, but the idea of focusing and targeting on specific areas where we can take specific actions that are measurable and quantifiable is encouraging. So appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the principals. They do an amazing job setting their goals and, like I said, working together. Elementary principals, we meet once a month to be cohesive. And then Mr. Neff, Ms. Howes, Mr. Range, and Mr. Jarvis meet monthly as well, just to kind of keep that building consistent.
I'm really excited about some of the new programs and stuff too, that we have to identify, like Chris said, just being specific, and how it can really help us grow in those areas.
Targeted. Yeah, we've got competitive people on our team, and they're ready, and teachers are competitive, so it's nice.
Anything else?
Anybody out there have any questions? Yeah.
I have a question, just to New Philly specifically, what is the reason that students don't graduate, just in our area? Why would they not graduate high school?
In this area?
Yes.
We have a population of students who leave to work once they become 18. That's a big part of it. That's one of the main reasons, I believe. That percentage, would you agree? I mean,
Yeah.
they turn 18 and then they leave our district to work. And so that's why we've tried to institute some of these work-based graduation things where we can grab them early And Mr. Range and Mr. Neff are doing some things together collaboratively to try to identify those kids, even in 7th and 8th grade, so we can grab them down there, hook them up with mentors. We'll dive into that some other board meeting, but they're working on a mentorship type program where some middle school kids can look at some of those kids that have been success stories at the high school to try to mix them up and show them that they can finish and graduate school and still work a little bit.
Now, our students that struggle, and need a little bit more help to reach their maximum potential, those kids sometimes take advantage of the opportunity not to graduate when they're 18, right?
I guess so, but if you saw, you mean our special education? No, but if you saw, we're growing, our app closing is going great on that.
Perfect, it was great.
Yeah.
But that's the reality, is that those students do have a negative impact on the graduation rate.
Sure.
And Audrey, have always kind of lumped that Hispanic population, the kids that have special needs that are need a little bit extra help to be as successful as they can be. I believe that's a reflection of the way we do things. And when you do things well, when you address special populations well, they're going to talk to their peers and they're going to come to the district. And folks that know we'll take care of a special needs student are going to come here because they know we're going to take care of that child. And that child's more likely not to graduate when they're 18 and have a negative impact. We're going to take care of the Hispanic population, and those people talk to their friends thousands of miles away. But, young girls hit 16 and they stay home and watch babies so mom can go to work, and Jeff alluded, the boys hit 18, doesn't matter if you're graduated or not. Some of that negative, in my mind, is a reflection on us doing a good job addressing the needs of specific populations.
Oh, what's nice is over the last 10 years or so, other districts with EL populations that were growing were coming to New Philly. I did at Garaway when we started getting more Guatemalan students. And the last 3 years of Mrs. Makel here, you find districts in our county sending their special education directors to Philly, or working with Mrs. Makel on the things that she's doing and the things she's doing to hold our intervention specialists accountable, our principals that have taken classes and learned more about special education. So now we've got districts coming to us for special education advice and guidance. So, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Not the report card, right?
Right, but
Yes. Okay, so with the change that we've done with the QDA, QPA, sliding those reports underneath Assistant Superintendent, because he's the sponsor, yeah. We'll just need to do a motion to approve the financial reports for QDA and QPA.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions about those? Call the roll.
Mr. France?
Yes.
Dr. Fuller?
Yes.
Mr. McMath?
Yes.
Mr. Weaver?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Superintendent's report.
Okay, I just have one item to approve here tonight, and that is what is now called the One Plan. The One Plan is our comprehensive plan for how we are allocating our federal funding and using it to meet the goals of the district. For those of you who have been around for a while, it used to be called the CCIP, but as all things in the state of Ohio, we like to change names after a while. So used to be the CCIP, needs to be officially board approved. So all of those plans with their goals were in the folders by building and then for the district. And like to have a motion to approve those.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Thanks to Lori Hall, she's our federal programs coordinator. She is the person who made sure that all of those got completed and were compliant with regulations. So I want to give her credit for those.
Yeah, they looked like they would support a federal program of some kind.
Yeah.
A lot of work for,
A lot of work, a lot of words, and yes.
yep.
All right, call the roll.
Mr. Weaver?
Yes.
Mr. France? Dr. Fuller?
Yes.
Mr. McMath?
Yes.
Motion carries.
I have a motion to go into executive session to consider the employment, discipline, and compensation of a public employee.
So moved.
Weaver, second? I'll second. Call the roll?
Mr. Weaver?
Yes.
Mr. McMath? Mr. France?
Yes.
Dr. Fuller?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you, everyone.